Ashley, I got a bone to pick with AMC.
Just one?
I mean, a few, but here's the one that we're going to pick right now.
Which bone are we
Three
starting
episodes in, the opening of the episode, and we are 22 albums deep already into Lestat's collection and tale.
That's pretty
Why
wild.
are we rushing?
We
Why
are
are
rushing.
we rushing?
We are rushing. This is the feeling I had when I was watching Game of Thrones. Oh no, why are we rushing? We're rushing so hard. I don't like the speed, but I do also accept it.
Can we go back to Let the Tale Seduce You instead of Time
really
for
nice.
a Quickie?
It would be really nice. I think that's a great sign. I want more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. We would like this to be dragged out for 24 seasons, 22 episodes every season. We aren't going to get that.
Listen, I would have probably, if you would have told me you want to do 3 seasons of the Vampire Lestat novel, I would have probably said, realistically, that's going to drag somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to drag somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure where, but you're going to lose people. Why don't you think of 2? But, however, 7 episodes and they're going to do this whole fucking book. I don't know what they're going to do as far as bringing Lestat into the Queen of the Damned of it all, but it better be significant is all I'm saying.
Well, and I'll say this though too, like our storyline as it exists in our current timeline did not budge much this week. You know, like not
That's
much
true.
time passed.
Almost not at all.
This episode took place over the course of like an actual real hour, you know?
Yeah, that's weird. I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're right.
You know?
The original unofficial fan podcast for Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles and the Lives of the Mayfair Witches. Welcome to the Coven, you butterscotch bitches.
You butterscotch bitches.
Okay, we are the Articulate Coven,
We
the
are.
original unofficial fan podcast for Anne Rice's Immortal Universe. We're your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Okay, overall, I liked this episode much better than episode
I did too.
2.
I really liked this episode a lot.
However, when I watched it and I thought about it and I sat with it and I was sort of upset, and then I was like, no, I like this a lot better than episode 2. And I went back and watched it again, and I got more negative notes, honestly, than I have positive notes, I think, overall. Yes, I said it in our talk about After Dark a little bit. I realize that I am picking nits with this show because this is the backstory that I love the most. This is the book that I love the most. And so every change affects me in some way. And I'm trying to see the story they're trying to tell. I also, though, am just incredibly cognizant that this isn't the story that I wanted them to tell, frankly. And that's where I wanted to get to. I wanted to start with Lori Yancey. Lori Yancey had some great feedback on episode 2. I've got to find this quote because it's too good.
Yes, it's very, very good feedback. And a good perspective on what feels a little off about the season to some of us.
One of my favorite things about Lori, though, I will say, as far as her take on this show, is the fact that she does have pretty strong feelings about the things that she doesn't like about it, and yet she continues to enjoy the show for what it is, which I am striving very hard to do myself. Come on now. No, this is way too far back. Maybe it wasn't on her page. Okay, here we go. Bingo. I finally found it. And Lori was actually Lori was responding to Alana Claire. Alana says, after watching the second episode twice now, I finally realized that Lestat just hates everything. There's no way we are going to get any sort of understandable storyline that was represented in the books. It's a spastic, random telling of random parts of his history that makes no sense to anyone unless you've read the books. Unfortunately, it feels like Jones has sucked all of the beautiful parts of the book out of the story, and it's just going to be really hard for me to finish watching the rest of these episodes. It almost feels like they spent so much money on preparing the music and Sam for the concert that they forgot what the actual book was about. It's not about him performing anything. It's only about his story. If Louis was such an unreliable narrator, then why haven't they made Lestat the most reliable narrator? I don't want episodes showing what Louis is doing or him talking to his bandmates or showing us stuff that was never true in any of the books. I want to see a storyline in each episode as the biggest parts of his life. And now I'm afraid that we will never see him actually have a whole conversation with Magnus or a whole conversation with Marius or what actually happens between him and Akasha. It'll just be flashes and music and BS. And then Laurie went on to say, thank you. This is exactly the way I feel. We only have seven episodes, and the time and budget could have been better spent on his backstory and moving forward from there. Instead, too much time is being wasted on concert footage, tour bus footage, scenes that are really pointless, a waste of time. I'm not sure if it's Laurie. Somebody mentioned like the strip club. Why I know that cost money to film a strip club scene, which by the way, the redheaded stripper that Gabrielle makes out with, you and I mentioned last week, is a cosplayer and a YouTube reactor. Her and her husband do YouTube reactions to Interview with a Vampire, and they dropped an episode about her episode of TVL.
That's awesome.
Too, so, yeah. Laurie says, I'm hoping it won't be the case, but I'm afraid the scenes with Magnus and Marius aren't going to amount to much of anything, just concert footage, lyrics with flashes scattered in between them. Uh-oh, Laurie, I think you're going to be mad about at least one scene in this episode. I will say I was worried that you were right to some degree, and yet I actually liked it when they did it the way that they did it. Let's add on the killing of a character that plays a big part in Lestat's life as the series progresses, and saying David Talbot was not popular in the fandom. I'm not sure what fandom he's getting his info from, but he's wrong. 2 episodes in, and I've completely lost faith in Roland Jones and how he's handled this season. Maybe the next 5 episodes will change my mind, but at this point, all I feel is this series fell down a rabbit hole and into a bag with the Mayfair series. Someone shoot that bag up, and we've ended up with the Vampire Lestat meets the Mayfair Witches, brought to you by Esta Spalding.
Oh no. I did not.
So Laurie, I feel your pain, but I don't agree with you 100%. And I gave you the slightest of pushback on a different comment about the Louis thing. I think you were the one that said all the songs are about Louis, and I'm like, they're not though. Like one's about Magnus and one's about Nikki already, and also I'm like 90% certain now that Butterscotch Bitch isn't about Lestat. It's about Gabrielle.
Yeah.
That song's about Gabriella. Anyway, yeah. So broad strokes of that. I just want to say this. Okay, here's something that I learned this week. Ashley, I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know it. Somebody was talking about the articles where they had said, is there any gas left in the tank or whatever for season 4 and blah, 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 blah. And we were like, no. Mark Johnson said that they don't have a mandate to make new seasons or new shows. And people were debating the language of what does he mean by mandate to make new shows? And so I asked the question, hey, does anybody know what the terms are on their contract? Do they have to make new content to maintain the rights? Do they have a certain time where it's going to expire or be renewed automatically anyway, et cetera, et cetera? Right? Like Fox got the X-Men and Daredevil and stuff like that from Marvel, and they had to make one or they lost it. Spider-Man is the same way. Sony has to make a Spider-Man movie every so often, or Marvel gets the rights back automatically. That is not the case with this deal. AMC purchased the IP. They own the Vampire Chronicles, and they own the Mayfair Witches. Now, my guess is, if we were to really pry into the legalese, that Christopher probably still has the ability to make new books if they wanted to, theoretically. That is the case for it's not the Tolkien estate who is divided up that way. God. I just read an article about this and I realized, I wonder if that's the case. Anyway, the point is AMC has this from now on. We've talked about AMC being gobbled up by one of these other media outlets. This is one of the reasons why they purchased this. They now own a great big IP that is important to the world of media and the world of horror specifically. And that is the kind of thing that a larger media company will look at them and go, oh yeah, we could do something with that. If we buy, I mean, think about it, literally, Amazon bought MGM for James Bond. Period. They happen to get an ancient movie library that has hundreds of thousands of movies in it or whatever, which is fantastic. They ended up with a streaming service edition, MGM Plus or whatever they call it. But what they bought it for was Bezos wanted to make Bond movies. And they were like, well, you got to get MGM. So he did. And then they were like, oh, but the Broccolis have say-so on whether or not you could do it. He's like, great, write them a check big enough too. So they did. And now he owns the ability to do it outright. That's what they have here with Interview with the Vampire, with Anne's Vampires, period. So, for Laurie, here's a thing that I recognized today as I'm rewatching this episode this morning. And I was like, I want to see the conversation. I want to see Nikki bring the coat to Lestat. I want to see Nikki and Lestat run away to Paris together. That matters to me somewhat. A great deal, in fact, it turns out. More than I realized it did. Someday I will probably get to see that, is my point. There will be further adaptations of these works in the future. It's one of the things that we've talked about in the past. That's more likely to happen now that these shows have happened. And what I am telling you is, when they do it again, they probably won't start with Interview. They'll probably go straight to the Vampire Lestat. So,
or could be in films. Like, we don't even, and the other thing is, guys, we're 3 episodes in. Like, let's relax a little bit.
Yeah, but they're not going back to provincial France though. We know now, Ashley. We're not getting these scenes that we've missed. We might get more color to them.
Yes. And I think that's perhaps what I'm saying is that there may be more layers that we get to see. We got to see a few different layers and versions even within this episode. So
something that you and I have talked about, specifically that you and I both enjoy both versions of quite a good deal, The Shining. The book The Shining is a very different story than the movie The Shining, even though all the character names are the same and many of the events even take place in a similar linear fashion.
Absolutely.
But specific changes made to characters and the timing of events or something, right? Tells a different story. Both stories can be very valid and enjoyable and worthwhile and have artistic meaning.
Terrifying.
But they are just different stories. In general, the specific thing about Jack Torrance, when he shows up already in the movie, is a real son of a bitch who's already way down the path towards evil, right? In the book, he is a troubled person with a drinking problem, but he's not evil yet. The hotel is evil and takes advantage of the opening in his life through his alcoholism. That's a different story. Both can be valid, but it's different stories. And that's what I want. Laurie, if you can find anything to hang on to in this show, I want you to think about that as the framework. They're telling a different story with the same characters and names. And when I say a different story, the angle that they are approaching the series of events from is different than the one that you and I have approached it from all these years so far.
Yeah, It's definitely not being told in a straight up narrative. And I do think I understand more what they're saying when they're like, a lot of the stories being told through the songs. And they've been saying that in the lead up to this. And I don't think any of us really understood what that meant.
We did not understand how directly.
Yeah.
It's so close to a musical.
This episode in particular felt very much musically coded, or it felt like a music video to me in sections.
Okay. It felt like Chicago is what it felt like. Not the music style, but the movie version of Chicago where the musical sequences are all literally like dreams, right? It's not actually, we're not breaking into song in the courtroom. I am razzle dazzling you. And that is metaphored to the audience through this song and dance number that we're doing, right? That's what happened here. Lestat has a message to convey, an emotion, a story to tell. And instead of laying it out like you would in a TV show, he gave us a music video. And it's effective as fuck, particularly the way they bookend this episode
yes.
with the other half of that.
Yes, which is, I think that, Yeah, and even on a second watching, that struck me even more strongly, that the end of this is the real story of it, and yeah.
Man, okay. Lestat and Gabrielle murdering the random Canadian tourists, I feel like is less than ideal. They're making Gabriella very hard. They're giving her a villain edit, as we say in reality TV.
Yeah, she's getting a villain edit, yeah, for sure. But she's not the best. She is a little...
Yeah, boy, yes. When you put the three of them in a room, though, and I sort of am a little almost sympathetic with Armand, I found myself being taken aback. The three of them are sitting in that box together, and I genuinely was more sympathetic to Armand than Gabriella. And I was like, oh, shit, they have made her real bad in this show, actually.
I kind of love it.
I mean, I don't hate it. And again, it's a choice. They are... you and I had even downplayed it. There was a great comment on the YouTube channel. I'm going to pull that up real quick too. About the Gabriella of it all, saying we had sort of missed something. They're like, y'all need to go back and watch the first 2 episodes again.
Happy to.
Right. That's what I said. Okay, hang on. I always screenshot my stuff. The good news is this will all be cut out. God, we got so many comments on this one too. I have to like scroll through. Holy shit, there were way more than I thought there was.
Yeah, I peeped in on that a couple of times this week just to kind of see.
Okay. The point though was they said this person, I'm sorry I can't find you and give you credit. They said, I want you to I think you both need to go back and rewatch both of the first episodes. There are a lot of things that you're missing. In particular, they drew a connection that what we're supposed to be seeing and paying attention to is Gabriella's crossing Lestat's boundaries. Lestat consistently drawing something and then her pushing past it anyway. You and I made a joke, for instance, about, he says in episode 2, we need a new pact. And I said the pact is that they're going to pretend that she's not his mother. That wasn't the pact. They said out loud, we're not going to do that.
Right.
And then
companionship without the cum.
She just runs right past that anyway, actually. And she's the one that pushes, I'll just be Sophia, and here's the story, and blah, 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 blah. And now we're going to screw anyway. In this episode, the way, I mean, look, it's fucked up enough that you've got this incestuous relationship, right? But fucking your son's body double in front of him while he's also pouring his heart out about his past failures? Ma'am!
Yeah. She's monstrous. She's also...
Gabriella would never with that Timu Lestat, Ashley.
Oh, she would not. That is 100. I agree with that. I do agree with that. She would not. Also, no, thank you. She's the way she's laughing. She just laughs at the most inappropriate shit. And I fucking love it. I don't know. I really like this portrayal. I do think I think they're pushing the envelope with the character because they've taken away a lot of their time to establish her on a deeper level. You know what I mean? They've rushed through the telling of it. So they're like, well, we really need you to understand that she's fucking awful. So we're going to make her really fucking awful.
I mean, yeah, yes, they do it. They do a good job of it. I love that this is a rewrite of our original teaser, right? At the end of season 2, they did the scene where Rockstar Lestat comes out and he sits in the chair and he's being interviewed by Dan behind the camera. That's what we get here, except the body double is different, right? But yeah, no, which by the way, we should have fucking thought about, like, they showed us 2.5 years ago that they were going to have a Lestat body double to hang out when he wasn't around. Like, oh shit, that's so funny.
That is funny.
Great cold open before the theme song this week, because we get all of that, and then we get a version of the opening monologue of the book, which is lovely. I am the Vampire Lestat. I'm immortal, more or less. And there's a lot of plays on the lines there, which are fun.
Mhm.
But it was probably my favorite opening to an episode, maybe ever, for the whole show. Honestly, that was delightful.
The setup for this is fantastic, and the two of them together and all the one-on-one moments that they have are just so fucking good. Like, Sam's incredible in this episode. And then when you, like, I mean, just incredible. These moments where he's just telling the story are really, really beautiful and fantastic. And then you're like, oh, he's so vulnerable. Oh my God, he's actually he's being honest. And then you get to the fucking end of it and you're like, ah, what an asshole.
Okay. Sam being so brilliantly vulnerable there in the chair, though.
Yeah.
Made me realize there's a way, even without the budget. They're like, oh, we didn't have the budget for wolves. And I've seen lots of people on the Facebook say, oh, well, I'm glad they didn't do it rather than give us shitty CGI wolves. That would have ruined it. Okay. You could have done paintings and Sam's narration. Give me 3 or 4 paintings that the villagers created to memorialize the event. Lestat on the horse, the Lestat facing the wolves in the snow.
But stylistically,
just
that
with Sam's narration.
Fit. Stylistically,
Yes, it would have.
Yes, it would not have, Joel.
Yes, it would. He could have literally. Lestat could have the paintings, though. Lestat could have the paintings. He could have had them right. He could have collected them from provincial France and had them archived and shown them to Danielle while he's telling them, or shown him to his mother. It could have been a scene between Lestat and Gabriella on the bus without Danielle even. We get it through the recordings of the Failures album because everything's mic'd for sound, right?
Why is he dragging those paintings onto his bus, Joel? Come on now.
Just saying.
I know.
There are ways to do it.
It's a lovely idea, and you're right. There are other ways to do it.
There are ways to do it.
There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it.
This wasn't the way. Shit, make it a music video. The music video for, and we're jumping ahead now, but when we actually get to the music video of my biggest fan, your biggest fan, I thought it was so silly in the first 15 seconds. I'm like, I cannot fucking believe the audacity of this show. And then they just hooked me 1,000,000%. The performances are all so good in that, and the framing works, and I'm fine with it. And what I'm saying is, that is even canonical, Ashley. The songs and the music videos in the book do what? They tell the story of Lestat and vampirism. So fine, give me a fucking wolf killer song then with a music video. Anyway, you didn't have to actually, there were just other ways. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I don't have the note and I'm not even going to dive to find it, but I saw somebody post a meme from Twitter that I saw on Threads, and it said, reading Lestat's lyrics out loud reminds me that he was illiterate as a mortal. Okay, I disagree with that. I think the lyrics have honestly been pretty good so far. However, Daniel is really on attack mode here as he begins to read some shit out to Lestat. I've got an illustrated lyrics of the Beatles, and like, if you just go read Come Together, it does not sound incredibly deep.
The song is bonkers.
Goo goo gajoob. Goo goo gajoob. Anyway, yeah, my point is, though, and Lestat turns it around on him so beautifully, too. He says, I'm an actor in my makeup. I get fatter if and when I break, which, by the way, I didn't know the lyrics were if and when, not when I break up. I like that. Okay. But I like that he drew attention to that. I love this interaction with them. This whole scene plays out so beautifully. When Sam breaks for him, though, y'all, this is the Amiee scene. This is the one you send in for the Amiee. I feel like him on even before his real fuckery, when he starts to break and then he giggles for Dan.
Oh my
God.
God.
Like, that whole piece is brilliant. And then when he sees Magnus appear as the the grip boy or whatever there on set, and he tells him to get out of his sight line, and everything after that was done telepathically. What a mind fuck. Like, just, oh, so good. But also, what a fucking talent, man. I'm genuinely I'm a Sam Reed fan for the rest of my fucking life, y'all.
Yeah. Same. I will be following his career closely with great interest, as the Emperor said.
That is the one downside of the fact that AMC owns this in perpetuity and will get adaptations in the future, because Sam won't be the right age to play Lestat in the future. And that will be a damn shame. Hey, okay, wait a minute though. I just thought about it. Do it in 20 years and have him play Marius. I'm fine with that. Shh, it's fine.
Fine.
Anyway. Okay. I love that we cut from Daniel's ruthless pursuit of Lestat and him joking and him saying, he says, "I am Louis de Pointe-de-Lac, undone by your relentless questioning." Okay, but then we immediately cut to Louis, who has been manipulated into doing something by someone else telling him it's what he ought to go do, right? Now, in this case, it's something he wants to do, too.
I mean,
but still,
manipulated? I don't know that he had to be convinced too hard to go do that.
I mean, he is currently being an errand boy for the Talamasca, though.
He is, but also he is a bit of a man on fire. So he's got he's got his own revenge in mind, and I'm here for it, sir.
Okay, I love. So he just cuts the guy's head off. First of all,
this scene reminded me so much of the mansion, the party in season 2 with the Coven.
Yes.
This reminded me so much of that. So fantastic.
Yeah. Also, great way to save on budget, first of all, and downplay the violence, right? We don't have doesn't have to be super graphic and gory or anything, because it's all kind of off screen.
You're right. This fucking decapitation right off the bat is fantastic.
But he decapitates the guy, though, and then once that's settled, he fires off the gun to draw the 2 guards out, and then he flies up to the second story. I'm just like, was fucking brilliant. Raglan said in the last episode he's really good at dispatchment. Louis is really good at dispatchment, actually. He's quite good at it here. There's a great line, though. After he shoots the gun, the 2 guys come out and he goes, "Did you get another possum?"
Yeah.
And then we see a possum licking or perhaps chewing on the head, which is too much.
So fantastic.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about vampire biology and healing for a second, because several people in the comments of episode 1 were talking about, y'all, okay, help me out here, because I thought Louis' leg would grow back. Why does Armand have a scar on his eye? Why does Lestat have scars from the wolves? Okay. In Anne's books, scars from the wolves, I don't know about that, honestly. I feel like he probably still would have had the scarring, but it would have been just like it's presented, where it's almost like perfectly clean and
right.
And there's no wound anymore on the inside for Lestat, and he's perfectly whole after his transformation, even though he has the external scarring.
And there's like a certain level of beautification that the dark trick does.
Yes. But it doesn't get rid of every line on your face. Right. It deepens your lines. In fact, actually, it gives you like a pristine marble-esque sort of presentation. Anyway, what it doesn't do, though, is repair lost limbs. When our vampires are decapitated, or when they lose an arm, or they lose a leg, or whatever, they're cut apart. They are cut apart. They don't die, though. And I love that Farid calls it out.
And you can't do a reattach.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, even this weak vampire that Louis dispatches like that, if they had put the head back on with a bunch of blood, it probably would have been fine, actually. In the books, we see Marius do this for Maëlle specifically. We see Armand try it a few times in different ways. And we see Armand do it. But yeah, you can reattach them.
Like our guy Flavius was missing a leg when he was turned into a vampire. He did not magically grow back a leg.
That leg does not grow back. That's right. And if you cut the body part off and you burn the body part, well, then you're without that body part then.
That's done.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your vampire biology lesson.
Science. Little science.
I do love, though, Lestat says, Farid says specifically that Lestat, as strong as he is, could withstand decapitation 4 or 5 times as long as the average vampire. And even they wouldn't die right away. Good to know. Good to know for future use, perhaps.
Long time to be detached from your head.
Right. Okay. First problem in the backstory in this episode, Lestat saw witches burn at 9 years old. Not heard about it, saw it. His mother took him to the witch burning. I'll say again, they're giving her the villain edit for sure.
They are. She did not do that in the book.
Also, she brings up the Great Conversion again. She tells Daniel that he ought to ask about it. Yeah, we know whose side she's going to be on later. That will make a great deal of sense for the show, I imagine. That conflict. Yeah. But boy. Okay. We heard in the After Dark last week that Lestat killed the wolves at 30. However, here we see Daniel say, what happened at 29?
Mm-hmm.
Lestat is already in Paris, and he's got the wolf coat, so that's already happened. That seems simple. Why did you... These are little nitpicky things, I know, but just get it straight. Maybe they just meant almost 30, but still.
Yeah, someone should have a Bible, this is what we've said, this is what's been said, this is, so you don't have stupid continuity errors like that.
So Lestat and Nikki do not go to Paris together in this version. They do know each other, sort of, and Lestat is very taken with Nikki, but he says later in the episode, I loved him from the moment I saw him in Paris, implying I did not love him before that at all. So there's not I in my head even rewrote this in the episode. I was rewriting it like this was a mirror of Louis's stumbling, fumbling young boyfriend from when he was growing up. The guy I can't remember the guy's name. Charlie? Not Charlie.
No, that was
the veteran,
boyfriend.
Whatever. Yeah. The army guy. I was like, oh, they're sort of making it like this is like Lestat's puppy love, and they're showing us this. But no, that's not it. These two were not in love as children. They met in Paris, effectively. They have connections because it's a small town, but they did not associate before Lestat comes. Okay, I said I was going to have a broader version of this conversation, but this is I do think it matters, and I'm wondering, and I want you, if you're one of these people who are a true Louis fan first, or maybe even only instead of Lestat, tell me what pieces of it did we overlook that got changed in season 1 or 2 that are this level of problematic. Here's why I think this matters. Lestat never goes to Paris in the book, except that he falls in love with Nikki. Lestat tries to escape a few times in life earlier. He does the monastery. He runs away with the theater group. It doesn't work. He falls in love with Nikki. His mother sees that and sees he would chase Nikki. He would actually follow Nikki truly away if he saw an opportunity. And she gives him the jewels and the money and says, go, do this thing. Do the thing that I can't do. Go and live your life, please. And they go. If he doesn't have the coat, if he doesn't kill the wolves, and he doesn't display this level of bravery and become the wolf killer for the village and for Nikki, then he doesn't swagger around Paris with the confidence that makes him be chosen by Magnus. That matters. Magnus, if he's not turned by Magnus, then he never meets Armand. If he doesn't meet Armand, then he never finds out about Marius and goes to meet Marius. If he never meets Marius, he never raises Akasha. If he never meets Marius, he's never told to go to Louisiana and fall in love with Louis either, right? And live a life. Anyway, I'm saying, and this is true for each of us, right? Our lives are just a series of experiences. We bounce off of the things that happen to us, and we change because of our development and adventures. but Lestat's in particular is focused on these personalities that matter so much in his life and the way that they impact one another and the chain of events. And I feel like, honestly, Nikki not being the reason he goes to Paris makes this whole relationship matter less to Lestat than it does in the books. Afterwards, I think it's easier for him to detach himself from Nikki than it is in the novel, because Nikki was a first love, not a great love, right? And I don't think that is how Lestat in the novels would describe Nikki.
I don't think that that's how it was portrayed, though. In this episode, it was very, like, passionate and I mean, we were seeing a lot of things in heightened moments, but I mean, I think he clearly loved him. I think he, like, this clearly is a relationship that matters, or he wouldn't be appearing in the studio when Lestat's doing an interview with Danielle, you know, like.
No, I agree. I agree. He does show that somewhat.
I don't think they're leaving that love story and that importance of that love behind. I do not think that. I disagree with you on that. I do think that, you know, the impetus of the trip of going to Paris, yeah, that is a little muddied, and we don't even really know why he went to Paris or how he got here.
I'm saying taking Nikki out as the jumpstart of Lestat's life lessens the impact of that relationship. Oh, like he loves Nikki and feels for Nikki, but
right.
I think it's important that Nikki saves Lestat first, and then Lestat moves beyond Nikki, because Nikki is a troubled individual, right? That's how it plays out in the novel. And in this, it's like Nikki is the messy girlfriend who Lestat lands with when he first gets to the big city. Like, I don't know. Just plays less for me. I didn't realize how much I like Nikki, honestly,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I think that those are some pretty strong feelings. You can sit in those for a little while, Joel. Figure that out.
Okay. Let's talk about the music video a little bit more. I understand why others don't like this way to do things, but, like, it was fucking brilliant, Ashley. There are a couple of times, there's one time in particular where Marius watches one of his videos in the Queen of the Damned novel, and you see or you hear him describe scenes of the music video.
Mm-hmm.
This felt like that. This felt like that in a way that I never imagined we would actually see.
This was like real Meatloaf vibes for me, and I was really, I got the giggles hard at first. Like, I started giggling at first. I was like, this is fucking hilarious.
I couldn't help a little laugh to begin with, but then it's so fucking weighty, though, especially if you've read the books.
Yeah.
Like, if you know where this is going. But even if you don't know where this is going, Daniel's hinting at it right away. Did he ask you, Lestat? You know, like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Lestat blowing away Yarda after they go off and fuck, and he like telepathically throws him across the room. I thought that was brilliant.
Behave yourself, mother.
Genuinely every bit as emotionally resonant to me as the "I heard your heart's dancing" line. Lestat says to Nikki, "Do you want me to murder you?" And Nikki says, "I want you to love me enough to give it to me. I want you to love me enough to give it to me."
I just feel, I feel like they ramped all of that up so well. If you're gonna truncate it, they were able to get so much emotion and passion and angst into those scenes.
You're right. They emotionally they hit the notes. Yes, I have to give them that.
It may have felt unearned
enough.
It may have felt unearned to you, but for me, I was like, I really can tell. Like, we never saw Lestat crying over Louis like that. You know, like, not,
You're right.
Not to him, not with him.
The closest we get is did you hurt yourself?
Yeah, that's it. Is that last scene. That's the only time we ever see them, like, Lestat, like, being so concerned over Louis that he's crying over him,
Okay, points in Gabriella's credit since I said she's getting the villain edit. She tells Lestat not to do this.
Disaster.
You cannot do it. You mustn't do it. You have used up your affection for him. You know you have. Okay, that is also true in the books at this point. Lestat had already realized. Boy, and isn't that the most tragic thing? When you still love someone and also realize you can't be in love with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better if I just hate you already, then we can move forward.
We skip this part. Yeah. Yeah. Or outgrowing someone, like outgrowing someone. Like you've turned into a different version of a person and you don't sit together well anymore.
Okay, Gabrielle, I mentioned it earlier already, but Gabriella Lestat and Armand in the box at the theater is so brilliant. Gabriella is peppering him with these questions, and this is fantastic for several reasons. First of all, because it's book accurate. She and Lestat show up and they meet Armand, and once they are no longer like literally fighting each other constantly, she is like, where the fuck did we come from? And where are the other vampires? Yeah. And blah, 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 right? And it's particularly once she realizes she can needle him with a question like, is there evil older than you? What about your maker? Anyway, I also love, though, that we, the viewer, realize that about 100 years after this, Louis and Claudia are going to show up and Claudia is going to ask him all the same fucking questions again. Yeah, he's like, God damn it, Lestat, left me another child to raise.
My God, can you keep your fledglings in line, please?
Okay, when he says, I love you, Lestat, and Lestat says, Christ, there is not room enough in this box for your desperation, and then leaves. First of all, excellent call to it's a roomy box from season 2 when we finally see their supposed relationship. All right, let's talk about Nikki's rewritten ending. In the novel, Nikki self-immolates. Nikki kills himself in the end. He is self-destructive and destructive to the Coven in various ways. He's killing people in public. He's doing crazy shit. They're trying to rein him in. And Lestat and Gabriella have moved out of Paris by this point. They've moved on to the world. And so Lestat's just hearing about this and letters from the Coven. It's a whole thing. I like this better, honestly. This is also not great, but I do like this better. I like that Lestat honestly was there. I like that Lestat. I also like that Lestat couldn't do it and yet did watch it. He doesn't put this off on our mind, right? He doesn't say it, but it's clear in the scenes, in the flashback that we're seeing, that Lestat is asking Armand to do this.
Do you think this really happened?
I do think it's really
You think this is the way it went down?
Look, we got to reveal at the end of season 2 that, hey, all of that shit or a bunch of it actually is Armand's retelling in their brains.
True that.
So like, it's not impossible that Armand rewrote some of this story in Lestat's brain too. I think this is probably the way that it happened, though. I think if it wasn't the way that it happened, I don't think that Lestat would have done it all telepathically and kept it from everybody. Right? Yeah. He showed Daniel the truth.
Yeah.
And he didn't give it to everybody else.
Fucking crazy ass Nikki playing with that severed hand. I was like, that's so much. That's so crazy. He's gone round the bend.
We've talked about it, though. We talked about it when we read the book. Y'all, not all of us, many of us have had a friend or a loved one or a partner who gets into this cycle, a self-destructive cycle. And it's like, if you're going to drive yourself to hell, friend, I can't be in the car with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Really, really well done, I thought. And honestly, I thought it was one of the best moments from Jennifer Ely as she reacts to it. Or I say that. In the moment, it seems that she is reacting to this information that Lestat is giving. I think afterwards we have to realize that what she's actually reacting to is the fact that Lestat and Daniel are not speaking to each other. They're all sitting there in silence. But in the moment, as Lestat is saying, Gabriella went to Coven, leaving us and Armand. I was drunk with his love. that I told him I was drunk with his love, that I was engulfed by it. Your maker would tell you I was being kind, but in the moment the words were true. And that's when Lestat gets one blood tear, which is so lovely. It's a really, really lovely moment.
Yeah.
But Gabriella reacts. Jennifer Ely reacts, and the look on her face, if she was hearing that, is gorgeous. Now, it can't be that she was hearing that because she can't hear her maker's telepathic thoughts. So it's very clever editing there that we were held to think that, you know, she's responding to some revelation, whatever. Anyway, I like it. That's a change that I can get behind, honestly, as far as Nikki goes. And Sam, as you said, he's just fucking brilliant here.
He's he just is amazing throughout this whole section.
When you go back and rewatch this again, folks, I want you to watch. Okay, Christine tries to stop the interview. Why does she try to stop the interview? She tries to stop the interview because nobody's saying anything. They're sitting in silence. And Lestat is giving Daniel a death stare, and she thinks that Lestat is mad. And Daniel and Lestat both shoo her away. And so everybody just sits there and waits until Lestat takes his mic off and gets up. And that's because they're all being paid to sit there and be quiet and wait.
Yeah. And who the fuck knows what these two are doing? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my goodness. There's a really good line from Lestat as he walks out. Unlike your last vampire, there are no illusions here. He tried to sell an 8,000 seat venue. They only sold 2,500. That was even with a papering service. Okay, I just want to say, in the real universe, the New York City One Night Only event had 30,000 plus entries for their ticket lottery. So you could sell larger events here, Lestat, I promise.
You could, 100%. 35,000. How bonkers is that? I love it.
There's a little line that I think we need to hang on to. When Daniel realizes what Lestat has done, Lestat's narration says that I seeded in Dan a hatred for me that was to be watered in the sunlight later. Uh-oh, Daniel. Okay, we cut back to the Baby Jinx story with Louis. Baby Jinx's tattoo, by the way, there's been some discussion. People have said it said kill her. It doesn't. It says kill her. And his, on his hand, says Baby Jinx. So that when he puts his hand around her neck, they line up right together. That's the point of those tattoos. It's very cute, honestly.
Adorable.
Okay, when Louis just punches him in the back and rips out a handful of vertebrae, I was like, Jesus Christ, Louis.
Whoa.
What'd you do to my husband?
Oh my God. That was so great. Rip it right out. I love every little bit of torture this guy's gonna get.
Okay, this whole scene was so well done. One of the best done scenes in the whole show, I think, honestly.
Jacob's amazing.
And the juxtaposition, too, going back to Lestat telling the actual story of Magnus. It's so fucking good, man.
I love that he's got those diary pages memorized. Like, he wasn't even... Sometimes
he didn't read them.
He wasn't reading them at all. He was just saying them.
It's a funny line before it gets bad for Killer, other than the vertebrae are already gone. But he's so overconfident. He's such a schmuck. He's sitting there and he goes, Gen Z fledglings, these righteous fuckers think we ought to be in the sewers and shit.
Love it.
Okay, I love that we've got the removed pages. These are the pages that were cut out on purpose way back in the day. And you and I have a friend in common. Louis says, Louis is so fucking calm. Man, you said man on fire. You meant the general phrase, I think. But this is the movie version of Man on Fire.
No,
too.
this
is Denzel Washington.
100% what I was referring to. Yeah. Taking care of fucking business.
I've got these bamboo shoots, and you've got these fingernails.
It's just going to be...
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do here?
Okay, Magnus as a muse shows up for Lestat in the car. I thought that was so fucking awesome.
Yeah, this scene
and then he
in the
changes
car,
outfits.
Yes, changes it into a Vampire Lestat t-shirt. Yeah, this scene in the car is fantastic.
No hope for you, Father Mags. I like that too. Okay, the real payoff, though, the payoff of this episode, the juxtaposition of Claudia's abuse, not shown but retold, against Lestat's abuse, actually played out. Lestat Lestat praying in desperation, that's in the novel, and Magnus cursing him for using those words, that's in the novel. Also, that probably hits home real good for all of our Sinners fans that have not read these books, right? That's very reminiscent of the scene where Sammy is praying in the water at the end. Man, also the overlapping dialogue. Killer is speaking while Louis is reading the words. Lestat is speaking while Magnus is speaking, and it overrides, just like hiding the violence by doing it all in the house through the window. It sort of takes away the sting of some of the worst of it. You don't have to hear everything exactly, but you're getting, again, it's like good editing here, good sound mix too.
Very, very
good
well
work.
done.
Very good work.
Very well done. The end of this was so fantastic.
Okay, Mag specifically mentions the long table. I don't recall this being an idea from the novel. However, we already know, they mentioned in the After Dark that the table is going to come back into play later. And Magnus mentions Claudia is there. He calls out somebody else. Anyway, my guess is we are literally going to see the dinner table at some point in the future. Yes.
You're the 5 dead friends that you'd like to have dinner with.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. The Loneliness, the song that we get at the end here, I think it's my favorite song so far.
It's really so
good. I can't wait. So the singles have been dropping on Tuesday after the episode drops. So we should get The Loneliness this week, in addition to another version probably of Biggest Fan. But like, holy shit, this song is real good.
Yeah.
Also, you want to talk about lyrics. Daniel's making fun of him, and Lestat's like, let me show you a lyrically deep song, motherfucker. Okay, we get a little glimpse of Baby Jinx finding the wedding ring in the ashes. That story ain't done, is my guess. I think Baby Jinx will probably be back around. Louis' boyfriend checked on him, called to make sure that he was okay. He may be emotionally unavailable, but he is emotionally considerate, isn't he, old Limwell?
How sweet. What's it like to get a kind text message or a phone call from your partner that is not steeped in utter manipulation?
Right? Did you make it okay, babe? All right, so we get I said we had our Chekhov's Claudia. Here she is. Brick and Bacon, the little diner where Louis stops to get some coffee and meets an old friend, Regina. Regina is the name of our Claudia reincarnation. It'd be very interesting to see where that story goes. My guess is it will not just be that cameo. Okay. At the end of the thing, though, Lestat takes to flying on stage during the solo, and I'm like, man, we just quieted down the fact that you flew out of a building and killed everybody in a hotel. Like, you're giving Christine so much work.
Fuck. Yeah, she's making her earn her paycheck. That woman does a lot of drugs, I bet.
And then we cut to Alex in a group. He's going to group. It's time. He's trying to maintain his sobriety and override his demons.
We support sobriety here, don't we? All addicts.
We do.
Addicts of all kinds.
Arun is the other new group member, though. I'm an addict. Kelly said the episode wasn't even over yet. We hadn't even gone to credits and music, and Kelly screams from the other end of the couch, "Who would not run from that man with those eyes?"
Right? Come on. Except there's also a little part of you that's like, I don't want to run from that man with those eyes. That's how we get in trouble.
Yeah, that's how we get in trouble. That's exactly how we get in trouble. Okay. On the whole, a good episode, a very good episode, I would say. I have definite problems with some of the choices that they have made overall in the adaptation. However, there's 7 episodes of this thing. I saw somebody shared the ATX festival discussion with Marlen, and he cautioned everybody. He's like, look, screeners have 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But there's a 7th episode that nobody's seen yet, and you do not have the story until you have the 7th episode. And we know that already. We know that's true, particularly from season 2. You get to that final episode of season 2, and everything is fully unveiled and
Yeah.
unrolled for you. So I don't know. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that I am
Joel, I'm gonna
just as satisfied with season 3 when it's done.
I'm gonna send more positive vibes your way for this, because this one's gonna be hard for you. This is your favorite book. This is gonna be tough. This season's gonna be tough.
Really didn't.
I'm gonna help you see the
know.
positivity. I'm gonna help you remember the
didn't
positive stuff.
I did not know how precious I was going to be with it, honestly. And
It's okay.
they are telling a good story. Even that's the thing, is like, I can see that it's a good story, and I'm still sort of pissed off about what we have lost.
Yeah.
So
because you're not thinking about what we're getting, you're thinking about what's missing. And I think that's
because I don't know exactly what we're getting yet.
Because we haven't watched it all yet. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that anticipation of like what's coming next is not even as fun because I'm not getting what I want now.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. All right. Now that I've gotten my breather and pep talk from Ashley, I can move forward. We will be back very soon. We're covering every episode of the Vampire Lestat here on the Articulate Coven, as you might imagine. We'll be back next episode where it's not a city name. The Devil's Road is no city I know of, Ashley.
What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What's going to happen?
I'm not even going to give my hopes up that we actually get a lot of backstory and flashbacks in next episode, Devil's Road or not. I'm just not going to believe it.
We'll have to see. We don't know. I haven't even seen any trailers for it yet.
I haven't either. I mean, I'm good because the trailers have been crazy, y'all. Okay. Until next week, we have been your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Thank you for sharing this time with the Articulate Coven. Support the show as either a free or paid member at articulatecoven.com/join. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Find more from the Coven with our sister show, Flan Again, covering the works of Mike Flanagan.